Now you can ask your question. Mm-hmm. Okay, done. Okay, no problem at all. That's very simple. That's very simple. What you can do, you can do over here. Okay, after equal to sign, the max equal to sign. Here, what you can do? Okay, just after this equal to sign. Okay, here you can print your message, whatever message that you want to print. Just write over here, A is greater in double quotes. Okay, close double quotes and press comma. Okay, now remove this space. Okay, now just do one thing. Increase the value of A, become A greater. Yeah. Okay, now execute it. I think now it should be work according to your requirement. Okay, there is what? No, I think the problem is something else. Or this same one. Okay, do. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. You didn't have you remove this. This is the invalid. Okay, now execute it. Again, you didn't save it? Kindly save it. Control S. Now I think the you are looking for this output. No. Sorry, I didn't get. Yes, it's considering string as a tuple. Now this become the tuple because I am returning two values basically. The one is this one on the index of 0, this one index of this one as treated as a, this basically treated as a tuple. Okay, because this is returning as a tuple because I am returning two value. One is the the integer value and the second one is this particular int value. Okay, the same thing. Now show me your code. Now I think you don't have any doubt regarding this. If you want to print this B, the same thing that you have to implement over here. If you want to print C, then you have to implement same thing over here. If you want to print D, you have to implement same thing over here. I think now the picture is more clear. Okay, perfect. Okay, anyone else having any question? Do let me know. Anyone having any question before proceed further? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so Mohammed, kindly close your screen. Let me make presenter. Okay, so visible to everyone. Okay, perfect. Good, good. Now what you have to do? Now you just enjoy the code what I am writing over here. Okay, might be you have many doubts regarding this code what I am gonna to be write, but when we proceed further into our course, you will automatically understand what I did today. Okay, I am using two different scenarios for this point of time, and might be, definitely not might be, I am confirmed that you guys might have doubt into these 2 points, because it is important one to tell you each and everything regarding the Python. But when this point will be cleared, whenever your course will increase, automatically this point will be cleared. Okay, so don't worry about it. If you say, sir, I am not getting, so don't worry about it. Okay, so just enjoy the code and try to listen my words what I am exactly want to explain. Okay, now the question is how I can read multiple values. Okay, multiple values from keyword. That my question is that I want to read multiple values, okay, from keyword into a single line. Okay, that is my question that I want to perform. Now repeating once again, this question is how I can read multiple values from keyword, okay, from keyword into a single line. Just imagine it, what we are doing over here. We are doing over here input, enter value for A, okay, enter value for B, enter value for C, enter value for D. That we are doing normally what we did till now. Okay, now my question is what I want to ask from user. I want, okay, enter 4 values, okay, enter 2 values, and what you have to do as a user, okay, as a user, what you have to do, you have to give here 2 values. For example, you are giving it over here in a single line 10 space 20, okay, 10 space 20, that you are giving 2 lines. Okay, now when I execute my logic, what I want, okay, these two as separate values. Okay, these two as separate value. Now what my question is, I want to read 2 values from a single line. Okay, I want to read 2 values from a single line. Let's suppose you write this 10, 20. But inside my code, these 2 values should treated as a different values. For example, A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. Okay, but for the running environment, I am asking 2 values in a single line for this type of requirement. Okay, you guys definitely have the question, sir, what is this, what is that. Just try to observe the thing, nothing else, because you won't get the clear picture about this scenario for today's lecture. But I am promising you, when we increase day by day, automatically this code you will get understand. Might be you guys understand within 2 days. Okay, so just enjoy the code. So what I am doing in the previous code, that I am doing A is equal to input of enter A, input of enter B, input of enter C, input of enter D. Okay, now I am not doing this. I am just asking for user just enter 4 values. Okay, asking from user just enter 4 values. Now how we can perform this? Understand this, very simple. A comma B is equal to, okay, then this the brace, okay, then this the brace, then int of x, okay, int of x 4. Now understand it, for x in here, enter 2 values. Okay, this is into the continuity. Okay, what I am writing, this is into the continuity. Okay, I am writing over here dot, okay, keep this point into the mind, this is into the continuation, dot split. Okay, split, that's it. And you have to close this, you have to open this, you have to close this. Now this concept is called list comprehension. This concept is basically called list comprehension. Now you don't know about the list comprehension till now. Okay, when we study list in great detail in upcoming days, then we will understand this is the list comprehension. Okay, for this point of time you don't know about this for loop. Okay, you don't know about this for loop. So this for loop I will teach you today what exactly the role of this for loop. For this point of time you just enjoy the code, what exactly happened, just understand my concept, that what I want to explain you guys. So what will happen, this time? Okay, if I do this, print A, okay, print B. Now what will happen when I execute these three lines? When I execute these three lines, let's suppose I enter value this one, okay, 10 space 20 in a single line. Okay, now when I print this A, this 10 is automatically assigned to this A variable and this 20 is assigned to the B variable. Here what output you will get? You will get 10. Here what output you will get? You will get 20. Okay, this is the way to do the same concept. Okay, now this is for loop. This concept is called list comprehension. And what is the role of this split? Okay, what is the meaning of split? The English meaning of split, to break down. Okay, this is the meaning, to break down. The same thing I am implementing over here. I am asking two values from user. Okay, enter two values, okay, from user. Now sorry, here I think, okay, now I am asking two values from user. Now what I am doing, it is into the string format, and what I am doing, with the help of this split, I am breaking them. I am destroying them. Okay, not destroying, I am just splitting them into two different values. And by default, when I leave this empty, it automatically split down the things according to space. Okay, for example, hello space print. Okay, now let's suppose this is my string, y is equal to hello space print. Now I want to split it out. For the same, what I have to do, y dot split. Okay, split, and I leave this empty. That's mean it automatically take this space and break down this y string into hello, okay, into hello and into print. Okay, this is the way. Now one more way. Now in this case I am asking value from user, that is the 10, 20. For the same, what you have to do, inside split, that you have to pass this comma. That's it. Inside split you have to write something like this, split the same line, but this time that you have to pass this comma, because you are asking the value from user, comma separately, 10, 20. Okay, this is the way. Now let's suppose this one is the value. You ask from user something like this with the help of slash. Now what you guys will do? You guys will put over here slash. Okay, so this value now break down whenever we got this slash. Okay, for three values, yes, you have to pass over here. See, okay, for three values. Then let's suppose the user enter 10, 20, 30. Now what you have to do, inside split, yes, you have to pass this comma. So automatically it is breakdown. When this string contain this comma, it will break down into the chunks, and this will be supplied to this variable, this will be supplied to this variable, this will be supplied to this variable, and inside your logic, whatever you want to do, you can do. If you want to do this, you can perform this action. If you want to do this, okay, multiplication, okay, you can perform this action. Now this is the way to get the multiple values in a single line. Okay, so this is the way. You guys definitely have doubt, what is this for loop? So leave this point of time, this for loop, okay, and this list comprehension. Just try this thing by your own to understand the output, okay, to enjoy the output basically. So I think the picture is clear about this, how I can take the multiple value from user. Anyone having doubt, please do let me know. Yes. No. Yes. No. sorry, no, you don't need to supply over here the slash. Okay, what you have to supply over here, you have to supply over here commas only. Okay, let me take your example, that means the picture would be more clear. Okay, so rather than writing again, what I am doing, I am rubbing it. Okay, I am rubbing it. So this time just changing it for saving the time. I am not writing again for saving the time. That what I am doing, I am just passing over here slash. Now the user will enter a value into this format 10, 20, 30. Okay, 10, 20, 30. Now it will automatically break it out. Whenever this string contains this slash, it will break it out. Okay, this is the way. Now let's suppose you want, yes, yeah, choice is again your whatever you want to do. Okay, you want to take the value from user, something like this, no problem at all. No problem at all. Now what you have to do over here, you have to pass this @ sign over here, no problem at all. Then it will give you it will give you none. Okay, in this case, if you pass split like this, the meaning of this is it automatically breaks down according to space. If it is empty, then it will automatically break according to space. Whenever it gets the space into the entire string, it will break down. Yeah. By default, this parameter is as a space. But I want to change it into the comma. Yes, I can. I want to change it into the quotes. This slash. Yes, I want to change it into this @ sign. Yes, I want to change something like this question mark. Yes, you can apply this question mark. There is no any issue. Then you will get the error message. Okay, here. Okay, if here the string is, then what you have to do, you have to pass this. Okay, x. So what you have to do, this one, you have to pass this string. Okay, if you take this y, then you have to pass string. I didn't get your question. You are saying this case? What string that I have to add? This one? Some okay, like this. Okay, so what is this? This is nothing. So it will do nothing. I am saying, okay, whenever you get this is none, this is nothing. So it will consider the complete string like this. It will contain this string. It will consider a string as a single string. It will not one string. Okay, one string, what it will do, it will take this one string like this. Okay, and second string, it will take none. Because I am saying the empty one. I am nothing specifying over here. Okay, so what I am saying break it out. On what basis break it out? I specify this. This is what is this? This is nothing. So what it will take? It will take two parameters, something like this, 1 0 2 0, and the second one is the none. Now I think the picture is clear or not? No, it will consider like this. It will consider a single value, this one. Now it will convert into the integer. Okay. Okay, so I think this is not the any use case. Okay, if I am splitting the value, that you have to mention to the user enter to value comma separated. Okay, or what you have to do, enter to value whatever the character you want to split, then you have to pass over here for the message only. User will get the information message. Okay, what I have to do, just do it. Okay, just write the string with comma separated. Okay, now picture is automatically clear. Picture is automatically clear. If I write over here, pass the string with comma separated, then what I will do, I will automatically pass the the data into the comma separated. So this is for the information only. So you guys just do one thing, do research over here, because this code is the tricky for you guys for this point of time. Don't worry about it. You try and enjoy the code, nothing else. Your assignment is only this one, that you guys are supposed to perform this code and enjoy the output for the same. Because this picture is not clear. I know it. This picture is not clear right now because you don't know the concept of the list comprehension, and I am using the concept of the list comprehension. All right. Please response. Okay. Anyone having any other doubt? Please let me know before proceed further. Okay, that's great. Now the next topic is, okay, before touching the for loop, I am showing you one more, the tricky logic. Now the logic this time, that is called command line argument. Okay, that concept is called command line argument. 50% people don't know what exactly it is. Okay, what exactly, because they very rarely used this command line argument. Okay, so it's my responsibility to teach you this concept, because this is useful sometimes. This is useful, very useful sometimes, that what exactly role of this concept is called command line argument. And let me explain this point, then I will touch the the technical point for the same. Now what is the command line argument? Let's suppose you are running your program something like this, py space. Okay, let's suppose your program name abc.py. Okay, you run your code something like this. Now what I want, I supply two value over here. I don't enter inside the code. I want to give the values at the time of execution. Okay, when I write this, I want it take two value from here. Okay, this concept is called command line argument. In industry, 50% industry use this concept. Okay, the command line argument. And what you have to do for the same. Now understand the code. Now I think the picture is clear, that this concept is called command line argument. How we can use it with the help of this. Let's suppose I am executing my code py.abc.py, and after giving the space, what I am giving 10, I am giving 20, and press enter. When I press enter, automatically I will get the output, that is the 30. That concept is called command line argument. Okay, at the time of compiling this program, or interpreting this program, or executing this program, that I have to supply these two value with the name of this program. So this concept is called command line argument. Okay, now understand it, how we can execute it. So for the same, what you have to do, now what is this, don't worry about it. What you have to do, from sys, that is the module I am importing import argv. Okay, so what is this? What I am doing, I am using this module. This is the predefined modules inside the Python. Okay, and what I am importing this method from that module. This is the already existing module inside the Python, and from that particular module, what I am doing, I am importing this argv arguments. Okay, so for this point of time, again you guys have confusion, sir, what is this, what is that? So again my answer is, just enjoy the code. In upcoming days, what we will do, we will create our own modules. When we learn about the function, then we will learn about the how we can create the modules, that is the user defined modules. Okay, for this time what I am doing, I am using predefined module. okay, that are already available inside the Python. You are not supposed to write a single line of code for this particular task. Then what you have to do? You have to importing this function, okay, from this module. So it is mandatory that you have to write this line in front of your code. So now inside my program, when I use this argv, it will not give the error message. Now why it will not give you the error message? Because I imported this module, okay, this module and this function inside my Python program. So if I explain this point in greater detail, now understand this. There is one file inside Python. The file name is, just imagine it, the file name is sys, okay, and inside Python there is some code. That code belongs to the argv, okay, and it is tagged with this name argv, okay. Now what I am doing, there is two option. One option, I don't want to use it. What you have to do, you have to create by your own, and might be it is the 1000 line of code that you have to, create by your own. But what alternate way that I am using? My Python give me a module. That module name is called system, okay, sys, and inside system there is one function. That function is argv, okay, and in the argv function there are some lines. Okay, it might be 10 lines, might be 20 lines, or might be thousands of lines. Now what I am doing, I am calling this function, I am calling this entire thing inside my working program, okay. Now this is the meaning of this one. I am importing this thing, the entire thing inside my this entire thing inside my program, okay. Now this is the area where I am writing my own code. This concept is called calling the modules, okay, calling the function, okay. So this is the way. Now understand the next line. So I think this picture is clear what exactly role of this, but have patience. Whenever we move further into this course, we will automatically understand what exactly role of this, okay. And when we learn about the function, we will design our own module. We will write here our own module, okay. You can write Ajay, you can write Vishal, you can write anything over here, okay. Here you can write anything. So later on we will understand this concept. For this point of time that we have to learn, okay, what is the concept of the command line arguments. Now you know command lines argument, and now the thing is how we can achieve this command line argument, okay. For achieving the command line argument, what we have to do, we have to call a module that is called system module, and inside system there is one function that is the arguments, okay, argv, okay, argv. Now how we will use it, now understand it. Very simple. From, okay, this is the for loop, okay. Today this for loop concept will be clear, okay. For x in argv, okay, print of x. Now very simple way. Now let's suppose my file name is, okay, my file is starting from this, okay. So if you guys have confusion of the indentation, I am writing over here, my file is starting from this, okay. Now this file name is, let's suppose this file name is test.py, okay, test.py. Now what is happening? Now I am running my code, py space test.py, okay, and after giving space, I am doing 10, 20, okay, and 30, okay. Now when I press enter, now what is happening now? This module, this automatically captured these values, okay. This automatically captured these values, these entire values. Now basically this is a list, okay, list like this argv, okay. Now this is test.py, okay. Now there is 10, okay. Now there is 20, now there is 30, okay. So this is in the form of the entire data in the form of the string. Now you guys know very well, okay. This is the 0th index, this is the 1th index, this is 2nd index, this is 3rd index. Now what I am doing, I am simply just printing it, one by one. Now what output I will get? I will get test.py 10, 20 and 30, okay. So you if you have doubt on this, okay, just leave it, just leave this. Now just leave it. What I am doing, I am simply doing it. Okay, I'm simply just writing over here print of let's suppose this argv of 0. Okay, now what output you will get? You will get this test.py. Okay, now in the second case, print of argv of this index of 1. What output I will get? I will get 10. Okay, and so on. Let's suppose for 2, then 20, for 3, then 40. This one, that is 30. Now this concept is called command line argument. Okay, so sometimes in some scenarios we have to perform this. Okay, for that point of time we will take the advantage of this argv module, which automatically understand, okay, if there are some values, that automatically read it out, and whatever you want to do, that again you have to define your logic over here. So I think this is very small topics. Okay, these are two very small topics, and I think you guys have many doubts into this, so don't worry about the doubts. Okay, just enjoy the code. After your doubts will be automatically cleared when we proceed further. So if you have any doubt, please let me know before proceed further. Anyone having any doubt for this? Okay, what is the the requirement basically? Okay, so sometimes let's suppose if I talk about big data kind of things. Okay, in Python, not in Python, in big data, where I use this concept. I use this concept inside Java. Okay, when I write the Java code, okay, and I run that Java code on distributed environment. Okay, on distributed environment. At that time, what exactly the scenario is? Basically, what exactly happening? There are two operating systems. Not operating system. There are basically two file systems. Okay, two file systems. Now, what I am doing, when on one file system, I have installed the another file system, that is called distributed environment. Okay, now on this file system, I want to execute the code on this file system. Okay, on this file system. For that point of time, okay, at that time I use this concept of the command line argument, where I give the addresses to my code when I write the name of code. Okay, from this package, let's suppose there is one package. The package is basically folder. Okay, on this package there are three files. I have to run this file. Okay, I have to run this file. When I execute this file, okay, then what exactly happen? It call this file. Okay, this module call this file, and on this file, when I write the name of this file, let's suppose this name is just take a simple example, XYZ. I write the name of this file XYZ. On the writing time, when I write the name of this file, I simply pass two parameters. The one is my file path. Okay, one is my file path. Okay, and the second one is my another file path. Okay, so this file, this my file XYZ file, taking this value as a input path, and this value as a output path. So this is the real-time use case of this command line argument. And one more example is there. In the recent day, I write a code, for the machine learning into the same context of the industry standard concept. And what I do over here, I use the concept of this command line argument. Okay, there are two things. One thing is what you want to do. You just save the time of this. Okay, you just save the time of this. At this point of time, rather than to write these two statements, one statement will say you, okay, enter first name, okay, and second one, enter second name. Why should I execute these two lines? I have another way where I can simply pass this name, simply pass this value. I know it will take three values and I have to process this value. So this is the another use case. Okay, if I show you the code for this, yes, not inside the system. We have designed each and everything. We define each and everything. And being a programmer, I know there would be it will take two values. Okay, it will take two values. The one value that I have to process something like this, and the second value that I have to process something like this. So I think the little picture is clear. What happened? Basically the major advantage of this, it is faster than another type of user interfaces. Okay, it is quite faster. Why so? And it take less memory. Rather than just take a simple scenario. In previous example, what we do, we use it, a is equal to b is equal to. Okay, here we are not using this. We save the memory of these two variables. Okay, this is the one advantage. For the same. So okay, now understand one more case. Okay, so for this point of time, let me clear your doubt. Okay, I am making some GUI application. Now GUI means graphical user interface. Okay, so understand concept. I want to execute this program. Now I want to execute this program. Okay, when I execute this program, when I run this program, it display a screen over here. Okay, a very beautiful screen. Let's suppose, okay, and the another option is cancel, and it is asking username. Okay, it is asking username and it is asking password. Okay, it is asking two values. Now this is the case number one. You can do it. Okay, this is the graphical user interface, and we know it when we use this graphical user interface that we are designing this screen. Okay, for this, to design this screen, there might be, let's suppose there are thousands of lines, not thousand of lines, just imagine it, there are 20 lines. Okay, for designing this screen, and it is taking the username and it is taking the password. Okay, and then after that you are processing it. This is the case number one. When I run this, it loaded into the memory. Okay, after loading it consumes some memory. Okay, okay, for the resolution purpose, because if I talk about the resolution purpose, the graphical user interface is always the GUI take the large amount of memory. Okay, this is the one case. You can do it. It will perfectly fine. There is no any error. Okay. Now in the second case, what I am doing, rather than to displaying this amount of memory, basically this is the memory and resources. Okay, this amount of the resolution on the screen. What I am doing, I am simply just asking. I am not asking. I am just simply taking two values. Okay, when I execute it. Okay, test.py. That's why I am giving the name, the username. Let's suppose whatever username you assign, and after the space, the password, whatever password that you assign. This is another way. Here. Now you can imagine it. Here I save 20 line. When I save 20 line, that's mean I save the resolution, because this is the graphical user concept. I save the resolution. Okay, when I save the resolution, my system is quite fast. Rendering process, I save this rendering process, because when I render the the pixel on the screen, it consumes the high memory. So that is an alternate way over here. What I can do now? I have to simply just pass these two. The process is entirely same. The logic is entirely same. Okay, if it accepted, then it will proceed further. Now here what will happen? If it is not accepted, what will happen? It will give you one more box. The username is not valid. Okay, the username is not valid. Now in this case, I save this amount of memory, because this is the concept of the graphical user interface, where the machines, where the pixel are rendering within seconds, not in second, into the microseconds. I save that amount of memory for my system. At this point of time, it is highly usable. Now I think the picture is clear. But as comparatively this one, here I am, yes, here I am, what I am doing, I am displaying this thing on the screen. Here I am displaying this thing on the screen. When I am displaying, I am rendering the pixels. Okay, when I rendering the pixels, automatically the memory consumes high. When I writing this thing, automatically, you know, the memory is taking little high, because I am rendering this thing on the screen. So I think the no, why? No, before before entering to this application, okay, if you are supposed to enter into any application, let's suppose your library management system, okay, let's suppose your own management system, where you know, just take a simple example of your, just take your billing software. When you enter into your billing software, what exactly happening? It will ask the username to you. Definitely it will ask the username and password. Okay, I know being a programmer, I know it. It will take two parameters, but now understand this point again. That when I have to deliver this application to the user, okay, then this is the you know, play important role. Then you have to give this kind of nice you know, the user interface to the user, because it will, you know, make the more impact. But when into the testing phase, okay, when you develop into the testing phase, and you know it will take two parameters, then why should I waste my time and waste my resources to implement such kind of things? I can save this amount of time, I can save this amount of memory. So the options are both of these. If I describe this thing into, you know, into a one line, the options are, both of these options are valid, whether you go with this, choice is again your. But this is one more option, that is called command line argument, and this is the advantage for this, because the command line arguments take the less memory as comparatively, you know, this graph, if I specifically comparison this with the GUI kind of things. So anything, any okay, the role of the memory. Now understand it. Let's suppose you are using a system, the same thing, okay, not memory, I just give you the simple example. You are using Facebook, you enter your username and password inside the Facebook, okay. When you click okay, if the both things are right, immediately you will get your own page. And inside Facebook there are trillion users, and you never know how many users are entering their username and password on same time. When you are entering your username and password on same time, everyone is getting his or her own page, okay, his or her own page. Now the question number one, why you use this Facebook? Because you are getting your result within seconds. Now take the second scenario. You are using such a application, okay, let's suppose you enter your username password at 12:30 p.m. and you press OK button, and it will say, okay, wait for 2 hours or 1 hour, okay, and you will get your result on 1:30 p.m. Will you use that application? Never. You will never use it. Now there are trillion of users, and being a product developer, okay, being a organization, I have to take care all these things. Okay, I have to take care all these things. If you get irritated with my application, you will never use my application. You will never. I will give you some use case in upcoming days. Okay, I will give you one assignment, and that assignment, when I will solve that assignment, I will show you this scenario. I will show you this scenario. You will automatically feel it. Yes sir, yes sir. Okay, now this is the best example to understand the concept of the so okay sir, whatever. नहीं, understand this point sir. Memory, okay, one thing, just take I am explaining this thing, you know, into the layman language, in my general life scenario. One thing, understand it. There are let's suppose there are 10 chairs in my room. Okay, case number one, you consume these 10 things. Okay, you consume these 10 things, but only your 3 chairs are filled. You book this 10 chair. If I take it like this scenario, you book this 10 chairs, okay, but only 3 chairs are filled. These 7 chairs are, you know, the wastage basically. If I consider it, you are wasting these 7 chairs. Okay, now what I can do to make the efficiency, to increase the efficiency basically. Here, if I need only 3 spaces, okay, I can consume something like this, only this much amount of space. Okay, this much amount of space. When, let's suppose the entry increased, one entry increased, what I can do, I can arrange one more chair. Okay, one entry more increased, I can arrange one more chair. Okay, and one more chair. Okay, there are 2 separate rooms basically. I am giving the explanation of the concept of the memory into the layman terms. Here the 10 chairs, okay, here the 10 chairs, here the 5 chairs. Now when this application execute, okay, the load is higher, okay, the load is higher. Here, let's suppose the 5 chairs are there, okay, the 10 chairs are there, but in this case you consume these 10 chairs, but you are utilizing only 2 chairs. The 8 chair space is wasting. Here it has only 5 chairs, but it required 10 more. Okay, it required 10 more. That's mean here are 15 people. The 5 people are settled down and the 10 people are waiting for their turn. Okay, or in this case, now this module, when this module pass these things, then it will process by these things. Now what will happen over here? Because this module doesn't have sufficient memory. And what it will do, it will make the process into the waiting state. Okay, it will wait. These guys has to wait for their turn. Okay, now what will happen? When it process it, then it will come. When this process it completed, then it will come, and so on, something like this. So here the condition that technically called is deadlock. Okay, deadlock. Now observe this scenario. This application required only 3 bytes. Okay, now I am elaborating these things into the exact scenario. 3 bytes. Okay, but I am giving to this application 20 bytes. Okay, I am giving to this application 20 bytes. I am you know, reserving this 20 byte for doing the task of 3 bytes. Okay, in this case, I have not you know, sufficient memory. Here what exactly happening? This required 20 bytes. Okay, but I give him 3 bytes because this application is not, you know, you are fully optimized for this point of time. What will happen? Okay, now this module has to execute. After processing the value from this module, the another module will process. Now what will happen over here? Here this module doesn't have the sufficient memory, and this state is called waiting state. After wait for long time, this will be sent into the deadlock condition. Okay, deadlock condition. This is the complete concept of the the large application. Because if I talk about the application, there is not one module, there are n number of modules who are running behind the scene. You can check it out by Control Alt Delete. Okay, now you can check it out how many processes are running behind the picture. If I show you, okay, let me show you this. If I execute it, okay, now you can imagine it. There are a number of processes who are running behind the scene. I think the picture, the system is hanged out. Okay, now you can check it out. Okay, there are n number of processes who are running behind the scene. Here you can check it out. These are the processes who are running behind the scene. And when this process doesn't get memory, what will happen? If let's suppose this process consumed my whole memory, then this process says, okay, give me memory, but my system doesn't have the memory because this process is already consumed all the memory. Then this will generate a problem. It will start hanging my system. So this is the concept. Okay, so this is the concept. Now I think the picture is cleared more now. Okay, being a programmer, that you have to take care of all these things. But for this is the starting time. Don't bother about how you can solve these kind of things. But yes, this play the important role. If anyone having any doubt, please do let me know. I think today Ajay sir is joined or not? Yes, but Ajay sir did not ask any single question today. अच्छा. No, there are so many things. Anyone else? Mohammed? Mohammed sir, do you have any doubt? Okay, because our discussion moved to some other direction in the context of the memory. So, okay, anyways. Now I think the picture is clear. Just your assignment is, you are supposed to, perform that two basic concept that we learned today. And don't worry about it. If you have any, any questions regarding that, automatically the question will be resolved. Okay. So understand the next concept. Now the next is iterative statements. Okay, iterative statements. Now there are two iterative statements. I already told you. One is the for loop. Okay, and the second one is the while loop. Now I will touch this for loop today because this is the very simple and easy to use. Okay, now first understand the concept of why we use. Okay, Sanveer sir, do you have any question? I forgot about you. You are also inside this class. Okay, perfect. Okay, now understand the concept. Now what is the role of the loops inside the program? Because without if, okay, not if, without condition that we already discussed, conditions are if, elif and so on, and without for, it's impossible to do the programming. So this is the base for learn any kind of programming. Okay, now understand the concept for the same. Now why are the use of the loops? Okay, just take one scenario. You don't know loops. I give you assignment. Print your name 10 times on screen. What you will do? You will do something like this. Print name 10 times. Happily you will do it. Okay. Yes, perfectly you will do it. Now, just imagine the second scenario. I give you assignment. You are supposed to print 100 times your name on the screen. Now what you will do? You will write this print statement 100 times. Okay. Now third scenario, I give you assignment. You are supposed to write 1000 times your name on screen. Now you will say, sir, no, it is very difficult. But if I forcefully say your marks will be deducted if you didn't solve like this. You will definitely do it, but you will get irritated. You will get irritated. Why irritated? Because you are using same thing. You are using same thing and you are writing again and again and again and again and again. At one point of time, you will definitely do the mistake. Okay, because this is the human nature. Okay, let's suppose I increase it. I increase it to the 10,000 times. Definitely you will do the mistake. Okay, and you will get the irritated to do the same thing again and again and again. So, but requirement is this one. My client wants to do this. That's my client requirement. He wants it. He wants to print 10,000 times his name on the screen. And being a programmer, that you are supposed to do it. But you don't know for loop. Okay, you don't know these loops. Then how you will achieve this? You are supposed to writing the same thing 1,000 of time or the 10,000 of time, and at one point of time you will irritated. You will get irritated, and you will definitely do the mistake because this is the human nature. So to do the same thing in 2 lines. Okay, in 2 lines. Then what we have? We have this for loop. Okay. Now what is the technical definition for this? If we want to execute, okay, if you want to execute group of statements multiple time, okay, multiple time, then we should go for the iterative statements. I am repeating once again. If you want to execute a group of statements multiple time, okay, these are the group of statements for multiple time, then we should go for the iterative statement. And inside Python there are 2 iterative statements. The one is the for loop and the second one is the while loop. So today we are going to discuss this for loop. Now I think the picture is clear why the rules, these loops play the important role inside any program, not for Python, in any programming language, because this is the general concept. Okay, this is the general concept of the any programming language. Now, okay, so today our topic is the loops. Okay, and the last time that we described the data types, and I said you, when we will increase into proceed further with our course, I will cover the remaining data types. Okay, now I will touch the data type. That data type is called range. Okay, we left at that point of time. So now with the help of this range, the loops becomes more easier. Now what is the range? First we learn this data type, that is the range. Now if I do this, a range of 10. Okay, a range of 10. Now I am doing it. X is equal to range of 10. Now what meaning of this? Its meaning is it's generating a value from 0 to 9. Okay, from 0 to 9. Always keep this point into mind. Always n minus 1. Okay, the meaning of n minus 1, 10 minus 1. The n represent number over here. Any number which is given by the user. For example, range 100. And now how it implemented? 100 minus 1. That's mean counting is basically start from 0 to 99. Total how many values? 100 values. Okay, so this range is a data type which automatically generates the values from 0 to 9. If I write this range of 20, okay, automatically generate the value from 0 to 19. Okay, now let's suppose I am taking this range of 1 to 10. Now it will generate the values. From 1 to 9. Keep this point into mind. It is always n minus 1. Okay, n means any value that is supplied by the user. Now, okay, if I write this range 1, 10, 2. Now what is this third step? This is called stepping. I am starting from here. My boundary is this one. Okay, my boundary up to 10. That's mean I have to run 1 to 9. And what I have to take? I have to take the step of 2. I have to take step of 2. Then what steps I have to take? I am standing over here on 1 and take the step of 2. 1 plus 2. What output I will get? I will get 3. Okay, 3 plus 2, 5. 5 plus 2, 7. Okay, 7 plus 2, that is 9. Okay, now this is the way with the help of range. Range is a data type that is available into the Python, by which you can generate the iterable objects. Okay, iterable objects. Okay, now I think the picture is clear. If I do range, so keep this point into the mind. Always 10 minus 1. That's mean 0 to 9. Okay. Now understand this scenario. I am writing this range 1, 10, 2. Now what is the meaning of this? This is the starting, this is the starting, and this is the end point up to, okay, up to means I am not considering this 10. I will consider 9, okay, and this one is the step. This concept is called stepping. Okay, now if I do this, I specify that is the step of 2. That's mean jumping of 2. I am standing over here at one point. Now I am taking the jump of 2. When I take the jump of 2, where I reach on 3. When I again take the jump of 2, where I reach 5. Again I take the jump of 2, okay, I reach 7. Again the jump of 2, I reach 9. Okay, if I do over here, let's suppose I do 4. Okay, now what I am doing? I am standing over here, and after that I am taking the jump of 4. After taking the jump of 4, I will reach over here 5. Okay, after again I take the jump of 4. 5 plus 4, 9. Okay, so this is the way. This third parameter is called stepping. This is called choice is again here. You can take over here 12. Yes, this is the boundary. Up to, it will run 1 to 11 only. It will not consider this 12. Okay, so now proceed further. Okay, now I think the range is clear. Yeah, sure. 1 to 10. Okay, now what will happen? Very simple. I am standing over here, and my range is 9. That means I have to consider 1 to 9. But I am taking the step of 3s. Okay, step of 3. I am standing over 1 plus 3. I will reach on 4. 4 plus 3. I will reach on 7. Only 7. 7 plus 3. I will reach on 10, but 10 is not inside my boundary. My boundary is only 1 to 9. For the negative indexing, yeah, definitely, yes, of course. Okay, of course. You can take something like this. But this point of time, when you are using the negative indexing, make sure this first element should be greater than this element. Then it will do the negative indexing. Because I am going into the reverse direction. This time I am starting from 10 and I am reaching to the 1. Okay. So this is the way. Okay, now the picture is clear. Now move further. Now I am using this thing into inside for loop. Okay, inside for loop. Now understand this concept. 4. Okay, this is the syntax. 4. This is my notepad. 4. I in. Okay, this is the syntax. 4 I in. You can take any name over here. Okay, I will explain this point. I in range of. Okay, range of, let's suppose 10. Okay, now what is the meaning of this? Okay, the meaning of this is 0 to 9. Okay, now this is the variable. Okay, now if I elaborate, if I remove this for this point of time, if I remove this, what I am saying, okay, let's suppose I assign I value 0. Okay, and I am writing this statement. Just imagine it. I write I in range. Okay, I in range of 10. Okay, the meaning of 10 is 0 to 9 element. Okay, this is the meaning of 10. Now this will return true. Okay, now let's suppose I change I value 1. 1 in 0 to 9 true. Okay, 2 0 to 9 true. 3 0 to 9 true. 4 5 6 7 8 9. That's mean it will execute. It will give you true. Up to 9. Okay, up to 9, because the last value, let's suppose 9, that is inside this loop. Okay, inside this range. So it will give you true up to 9. But when I value become 10. Now this condition is true. 10 in range of 10. Now no, because here the value is 0 to 9. Okay, here the value is 0 to 9, and I am saying 10 in 0 to 9. No, at that time this loop will be breakdown. Okay, now I think the picture is clear how exactly this statement works. Now what I want to do here, I do step by step. Here I change manually value. Okay, I value 0, then I value 1, okay, I value 2, I value 3, I value 4, and something like this. Here I did this concept manually in this case. But what I want it automatically change the value. On up to 0 to 9. So I already discussed this statement. Okay, what statement was? When we execute group of statement multiple times, okay, multiple times, for doing the same thing multiple times, what I have to do? I have to take the advantage of this for loop. Now I think this picture is clear. Okay, what exactly this statement, I break down this statement from this entire for, and I explain you this concept step by step. Now move to this point. Now I am writing this. For I in range of 10. Okay, here column, you know very well what is the role of the column. Column mean you know it. After this line it is expecting something, okay, some statements. So here I am simply write print I. Now observe this. Now this thing will execute 0 to 9. Now what output I will get? I starting value will 0. Okay, I am printing I value, that is 0. Again automatically I value will become 1. Okay, here the value will be 1. Okay, 2, the value will be 2. I value become 3, the value is 3. Then 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7, 8 and 9, up to 9. Okay, up to 9. Why so? Because I define over here 10. So I am printing this I value. And I value is changing starting from 0, and it is changing up to 9. Starting value is 0 and changing up to 9. So this is the concept of the for loop. Very basics to understand. Okay, what I am doing, this is the variable. Which is changing according to this range. Automatically the first value 0 is assigned, then 1 is assigned, then 2 is assigned, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on. And up to 9, not include this 10. Why so? Because I specified the boundary over here. It's the meaning of 0 to 9. Okay, take one more example. Now the question is, I have to print my name 10,000 times on the screen. Okay, for the same, what I have to do? For I in range of 10,000. Okay, I in range of 10,000, print of, let's suppose XYZ. What is the name of the person? XYZ. Very simple. Here again, take care about the tab. As we know it very well, when we put this column, it is mandatory to give the tabs. Now I value starting 0, and this mean that we have 0 to 999 values, and this value will be executed. This value will be printed on the screen. How many times? 0 to 9,999 times. This value will appear on the screen. Okay, so this is the very basic concept of the loop. Let me show you practical first, then we will touch the next point regarding this. So I am opening the Python shell. Okay, my system responding very slow. Yeah, definitely sir, definitely, because you know it's never shut it down for last 1 month. It's continuously working. For last 2 months, when the lockdown is started. It's continue working. That's why it's that tired, very much tired. Okay, so anyways, okay, let me show you this. First, x is equal to a range of range of, let's suppose 10. So I am printing this x. Now you understand it. These are the items, iterable items 0 to 10, and always I already told you this is up to 9. Okay, so for the same, what I am doing, I am for I in range of 10. Okay, now colon print of I. Now when I press enter, now you can imagine the output is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I am printing this I value. And no need to define the variable. It automatically initialization automatically. My interpreter automatically understand, okay, this is the variable. Sorry, I didn't get. Please ask question. Who is going to ask the question? Okay. So, because this is the, because no, I is not 0. Because I define over here. 10 mean, I already told you, 10 mean the value starting from 0 and up to 9. I define. But this is the syntax. Interpreter automatically understand. Okay, this is the valid variable, no problem at all. But no, that is wrong. That is wrong. Because this is dynamically typed programming language. We don't need to assign, prior to use that variable. It automatically getting the values from this and automatically define this is the integer values. This is the concept of the dynamically typed programming language. Here I define anything. I didn't define anything. Okay. So automatically it's take automatically, okay, this is the range type data. If I assign x is equal to 10, it automatically say it's a integer type data. But range basically used for the integer values. Okay. If you pass over here string values, if you pass over here float value, it will give you the error message. Okay. So by default, this I is a variable which take the value from 0 to 9. Okay. Let me show you. If you pass this 10.5. Okay. If you pass this, let's suppose 1 to 10.5. Now understand it. It will give you the error message. Why so? Because what is the meaning of 10.5? What is the meaning of it? In our general language, in our general scenario, we use half. But what is the meaning of over here half? I want to run this loop half. What makes sense? Okay. So that's why it's always should be into the integer values. Keep this point into mind. When you are taking range, it should be accept only integer value. Otherwise, you will get the error message. Okay. For the next, understand the next in great detail this concept. I will show you practically. Perfect. Okay. I am coming to that point. That is, this question is asked, from every students. Why I? So for this point of time, why we use I? Okay, because you didn't do C++ and C language inside C++, okay, or inside Java. When I into the initial age, okay, when you check out the basic programs of C++, even C language, or even Java language, or even Python language, then there 90% time, okay, 90% time the for loop used I, J, K. Okay, the one loop use I, the second loop use J, the third loop use K, for just understanding the concept. But it is not hard and fast rule. Okay, this is just like a naming conventions. Okay, just like a naming convention. So for this point of time, okay, you ask me, sir, only I? No, I am going to tell you that question. Okay, if you want to ask me, then definitely again I have to tell this question to you guys, because my next point is this one. Okay, for I. Now, okay, automatically now you observe it. For I automatically say for I, because this is the general practice. Because when we start the programming, our professors, our teachers, even I teach you I teach you I. Again, someday when you teach someone, you will automatically say for I. Okay, so this is just for a naming convention. For this point of time, what you can take over here? You can take your own name. Okay, I am taking Ajay sir name, because Ajay sir, I think, didn't ask today any question. So I am taking the Ajay sir name. So might be Ajay sir iterated. Okay, so for Ajay, in range of 10. Okay, range of 10. Now print of, where I use I, now I have to use this Ajay. Now print output is exactly same. There is no difference. Now the picture is, I suppose, clear. You can take over here anything. Whatever you want to take, you can take anything. This is just like a, you know, the temporary variable. Just like a temporary variable which will hold the data. But make sure that, back to your first lecture, make sure this should be the valid literals. Okay, you are not supposed to take the same thing. Okay, at the rate, yes, acceptable. You are not supposed to take over here $sign. Okay, you are not supposed to take over here equal to sign and something like this. Okay, underscore is valid because we can assign the value to the underscore name. For example, the same thing I am using, 4. Okay, 4 Ajay underscore 1 2 3. Okay, underscore 1 2 3. Now it is acceptable, but by mistake, if you do this, at the rate. Okay, now observe this scenario. I use at the rate. Now observe this scenario. It will give you the cannot assign the operator. So it will give you the error message over here. So keep this point in mind. You can take any valid literals. Okay. So I think the picture is clear. So move to the next part. So this is the way to iterate the items. So same thing I am doing over here. Printing my name 10 time on screen for I in range of, let's suppose 10. Okay, colon print. Okay, now this time this thing happened 10 times. Okay, 0 to 9, obvious 10 times. So Ajay is printing on the screen for 10 times. Okay, one more case. Now this time what I am doing, 1 comma 10 comma 3. Now what output I will get? 1 3. Okay, sorry, but here I print Ajay. So I am printing the value of I. Okay, so what output I will get? 1 4 7. I am standing over 1. After 1 I take the jump of 3, then I reach on the 4. After that I take the jump of 3, then I reach to the 7. 1 4 7. Okay, so another way, for 1 comma 10. Okay, this time 10 comma 1 comma minus 1. This time I am printing the negative values. Now you can observe it. 10 9 8 7 6. Why 1? Why not 1? Because it's always n minus 1. Okay, so this is my boundary. I am going to 10 to 1. Okay, 10 to 1, but 1 is not considerable. For considering the 1, what you have to do? You have to put over here 0. Okay, now but you want 0 as well. You want 0 as well. For the same, what you have to do? Minus 1. Okay, minus 1. Now you can you know, I think the picture is more clear. So move to the next one. Now what next I am going to do? Let's suppose this is the string HELLO. Okay, I want to iterate this string. The iteration mean I want to process each and element of this x object. For the same, what I have to do? For I in simply the way x. Okay, and print I. Now understand the output. You will get 1 by 1, because I in starting value contain h. The next iteration it contain e. On the next iteration it contain L. On the next iteration it again contain L. On the next iteration it contain O. Okay, this is the one way. Okay, one more way. This time I am taking this 10 20 30 40. Okay, I am taking this. Okay, now I am taking one name as well. Let's suppose time. Okay, now I want to iterate each and everything. I want process this 10. I want to process this 20. I want to process this 30. I want to process this 40. Okay, for the same, what I have to do? For I in simple L. Okay, print of I. Now you will get 10 20 30 40 and time, one by one. That's mean in the starting value I is equal to 10. Okay, into the next iteration I is equal to 20. Into the next iteration I is equal to 30. Into the next iteration I is 40. Into the next iteration I is time. Okay, one more way. Now again this time I want multiply. I want multiply every value of x with 2. Okay, I want to display on the screen 10 into 220, 20 into 240, 30 into 260. Okay, for the same what I have to do, for I in L, okay, print of I multiply by 2. Now what output you will observe? The every value, I perform the operation that I multiply by 2, okay, then again I multiply by 2, that is 40, again I multiply by 2, that is 60, for every iteration. Okay, by default I value coming 10, again 20, again 30, and I am performing some kind of operation on these values. Okay, this is the one way, this is the simple way to do the same thing. Okay, one another way is there, little lengthy, because sometimes we have to perform this thing. Okay, so okay, if I do this, L of 0 multiply by 2, okay, what I will get? I will get 20. If I do this, L of 1 multiply by 2, what output I will get? I will get 40. L of 3, L of 2, I will get again 60. This is another way with the help of slicing. But I want to perform this kind of scenario inside my this loop. Okay, inside my this loop. Okay, for the same, what I have to do now, observe. Okay, L is equal to this one. First, I have to calculate this range. Okay, I have to calculate the length of this. And for calculating the length, we have function. That function is called len of L. Now, what output I will get? I will get 3. Why so? Because length is starting always from 1 and indexing is always start from 0. So length give me the 3 values. Okay, so for that what I have to do? Now observe this scenario. For I in, okay, I am performing I in. I know range which will iterate. Okay, if I pass this, it will iterate from 0 to 3. Okay, 0 to 3. Okay, 0 to 2. Okay, it will assign the value I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, and I is equal to 2. For the same, what I am doing over here, print of very simple, L of I. Okay, L of I. Now observe this scenario. This is the second way with the help of slicing concept. Now, but this time I pass the value that I calculated over here. Okay, I calculated over here. Now what else I can do? I simply over here len of L. That's it, len of L, and I have to multiply by 2. Okay, the previous case I have to multiply by 2. Now you can observe this scenario. This is the one way. Output is exactly same. This is the second way. For I in simple L. Okay, print of I. Now you can observe. Okay, sorry, let me do multiplication. Okay, now you can check it out. This code and this code, the output is exactly same. There is no difference. Sometimes in some situations we have to perform this code. Okay, it's depend upon the situation to situation, requirement to requirement. In some cases that we have to perform this case. Now the next case, the next program is that I want to find the even numbers. Okay, I want to find the even numbers from this entire list. For way number 1, first I will solve this problem like this, and then I will solve this problem like this. Okay, for the same, what I have to do? For I in range of len of L. Okay, for this. Okay, and then what I have to do? I have to find the even number, and I know how we can calculate the even numbers. Okay, for calculate the even numbers, I know the formula. Okay, if L of I modulation of 2 double equals to 0. Okay, L of I modulation of 2 double equals to 0. Then what I have to do? Okay, what I have to do? I have to, if this condition is true, because in first value it will contain 1. Now this 1 modulation 2 double equals to 0. No. Okay, simply I have to print if this condition is true, then print L of I. Okay, otherwise no need to do anything. Now understand this scenario. This is the one way the length method. With the help of length method, that I am calculate the find out the even numbers and the odd numbers. Okay, with this if condition that we already studied into our previous videos. And what I am doing the same thing again and again and again. Okay, if you don't know, let's suppose you don't know if condition, you don't know this, sorry, you don't know this for statement. Okay, then how you will solve this kind of problems? Okay, you will do this thing, how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 times. Okay, let's suppose this list contains 1000 numbers, so you have to perform same task into 1000 of times. No, this is not a valid way. The solution for the same is, this is the way, only with the help of 3 lines of code. Okay, now the same thing I am doing with the easiest way. Okay, for I in L, if I modulation of 2 double equals to 0, print of I. Very simple, the same thing. Okay, sometime, yes, there are some specific condition where we have to perform something like this. There are some specific condition where we have to perform something like this. It's totally into the, into the requirement. Okay, into the requirement. In this case, I don't know how many items are there. Okay, I don't know how many items are. Okay. So just take an example. Okay, just take an example. Now one more time I am writing this x. Okay, so I want to, what my requirement is, I want to find out the modulation of each value, but this is the string. Okay, this is the string. So what I have to do, I don't want to process this item. I don't have to process this item. I have to process only these items. I have to process only these items. For this, for I in L. Okay, for I in L, if I in, okay, now understand it, if I in let's suppose 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, any of number, then what I have to do, print I modulation of 2 double equals to 0. Okay, I have to print this value. Okay, else if it is not like this, then what I have to do, print I. Okay, then I have to give the message, this is string, and we cannot calculate even or odd. Okay, even or odd. Okay, this is the very good program. Now understand it. Okay, you are getting the error message. Why so? If require left operand not in. Okay, sorry, I think नहीं, वो कोई issue नहीं है. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why it's giving the error message? If I in, it's saying string required string or left operand. Okay. So because we have to do over here the concept of the typecasting. It's considering as an int, and this one is a string, I suppose, but this should be work. In required string as left operand not int, required string, the left operand is not string. Let me check, this should be work. Let me check, no problem at all. For I in L. Okay, just wait for a second. Why it's giving the error? Print of for I. What I did, I simple if I in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, if it is inside this, then what I have to do, let me do this. नहीं ऐसा कोई नहीं चलना चाहिए कोड पे. In for I in it should be work fine यार, होना चाहिए. एक मिनट. L of 0 in 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, it should be work. Now it give me the error message. Okay. It's considering as a string. Okay, 1 second. In 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, not okay. What I have to do, I have to perform over here the concept of the typecasting. Okay, concept of the typecasting. It's taking value as a string. Okay, I am comparing this into this thing. Okay, do one thing. Okay, let me, if I go with this. Okay, then what we can do, simply take these values 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, 8 9. So let me do it. Now it's working. So rather than take string, because we are taking the value of okay, I'll explain you. Let me show you the output. Model, let me check the output is right. I think there is one more thing that you have to do. Okay, then print this cannot. Okay, cannot. I am simply just displaying this message. Okay, no, yes. Okay, true. And because this is the return type of this one is true. Now understand it. Now one more thing. What exactly it's doing? Now it's taking the data. Let me print you this. It's taking this data, and what I am doing, I am performing for I in L. Okay, for I in L, if I in 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, for this time, if this value, if any of this value inside this, okay, inside this, then print I modulation of 2 double equals to 0, then it will return true or false. Okay, the 1 enter, it says it's a false. 2 enter, it say it's a true. 3 enter, it's a again the false. Then 4 true, 5 false, 6 true, 7 false, 8 true, 9, the 9 enter, 9 is there or not? Okay, no. The 7 enter, it's a true. It's a false. Okay, the next one is this one. Okay, this one. But this thing is not inside this. And it say I cannot. But this time, okay, this is the one case. Second case, I need output. Now observe the scenario. I am using if inside if. Okay, if I modulation 2 double equals to 0, then what I have to do? I have to print I value, and with that you have to print even. Okay, even. So this is the way. Now you can check it out. 264 even, XXX cannot. Okay, so this is the way. I am using over here if inside if. Okay, if inside if. Yes, you can use it. If inside if. What exactly happening over here? If this condition is true, then enter into this condition. Okay, enter into this condition. If this is true, then print. I have not mentioned any else with this. This else is with this if. Okay, if it is not inside this, then what will happen? It will simply print I cannot, because this is the integer, this is the string. But if this condition is true, I am passing one more condition inside this, because inside condition there is one more condition. If Rams give me the bike key, okay, if Ram give me the bike key, now what you have to do? If the petrol is there or not? If the petrol is there, then simply kick on the ignition and just kick it and go to the destination. Else, what else? You have to fill the tank. This is the scenario. Okay. Now if I roughly explain this point, the same thing. Ram, you will ask the key from the Ram. Okay, Ram give you the key, but again you are passing one more condition. You have to check the petrol tank. Okay, if it is fill, then go. Okay, else what you have to do? Fill the tank. Okay, Let's suppose Ram didn't give you the key. Ram didn't give you the key. Then what else you have to do? You have to go for the Sham. That is the alif. If alif. Okay. Inside alif. Okay. Sham give you the key of car. Again you have to check the tire pressure. Tire air pressure. Okay. If it is appropriate, then go. Else. Check it out. Check it out the the tire air pressure. Okay. So this is the way. Inside if you can pass n number of ifs. Okay. For example, take one more complicated case. Okay. Ram give you the key. Okay. Perfect. If okay, if the tank is full. Perfect. Tank is full. Then what do you have to do? If tank is full, okay, and if tire air pressure is okay, then go. Okay. If tire air pressure is not okay, then what do you have to do? Check the tire air pressure. Okay. If petrol tank is not full, that is your base condition. If petrol tank is not full, then what do you have to do? Else check the petrol tank. Or let's suppose there is one more condition. Inside this one more condition, alif, check the fill the petrol tank. So these are the ways. Okay, these are the ways by which you can perform something scenarios like this. There is no hard and fast rule. You cannot use if inside if. Inside this, what I am using, if there are some values, that I have some values, if these values are present in this, okay, these values are present into this, that's mean I have to process if. And what next I have to do? First I will contain this one. Okay. Now what I am doing, I am checking 1 in 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 or not. Okay. If it is inside this, then I have to perform. What operation that I have to perform? I have to check whether this is the even number or not. Okay. So if this condition is true, then you have to print this is the even number. Let's suppose, okay, this condition is not true. That's mean this value is coming inside I. Okay, this value is coming inside I. Then what do you have to do? You have to perform the else part, and you have to print I cannot. Okay, I cannot mean this value, I contain this value. Okay, and the operation is I cannot perform because this is the string. So this is the way by which you can use your if, you can use your for. I show you the all use cases, the basic use cases with the help of for, okay, and with the help of if. So if you have any doubt before proceeding the assignment part, okay, I'm giving you some assignments. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay, please sir. अभी वो मैं आपको अगले एक या दो क्लासेस में वो कंसेप्ट भी बताऊंगा कैसे इसको हॉरिजॉन्टली लिखना है. ठीक है, ये मैं देख लूँगा यार. ये थोड़ा सा ना, मैं थोड़ा दिमाग मेरा बहुत थक चुका है अभी. हाँ, ये मैं कर दूंगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. एनीवन हैविंग एनी डाउट रिगार्डिंग दिस सिंटैक्सिस, डू लेट मी नो. I will do this tomorrow. I will show you the code for the same, why it's not working. So it's little, for debugging little, or might be I will share inside the group for this within 1 hour. If my mood feels good, then I will definitely do the same before sleeping. Okay. Anyone else? I think the picture is clear regarding this for loop. Okay, so now the time for assignments. That assignment you have to perform. Okay, so okay, so these are the assignment, the 4 assignment that you have to be performed. Okay, the assignment number 1, assignment number 2, assignment number 3, and assignment number 4. I am not going to describe these assignment. Try to read it out by your own. Okay, try to read it out by your own. If you have doubt, okay, if you have doubt regarding this assignment, do one thing. I will share you the link, okay, my YouTube channel link, where I explain each assignment in great detail, not with solution, only just explain the assignments. I explain assignment, what exactly that you have to do. First, what you have to do, you have to understand this thing by your own, because we have to learn, okay, we have to learn what exactly the problem statement, okay, what exactly the problem statement. But somehow, if you are not comfortable to understand the problem statements, then what you have to do, I will share you the link for my YouTube channel, where I explain these assignment in great detail, what exactly you have to do to perform these assignments. Okay, so if you have any doubt, please let me know. I think this approach is this. Yeah, definitely. I'll share you the link. But before and click on my link, try to understand these assignment by your own, because we are into the starting age, and if you want to really a good developer, then you have to study out the assignment. Okay, because just imagine it. These are the problem statement that given by your client. Okay, this is the problem statement, not client. This is the problem statement that is given by your team manager. Okay, then in that context, if you try to learn these things, then in future when you sit inside the real production, you automatically understand the problem statement, because your practice is from this point of time. On your starting age, you do the same practice to understand the problem statement by your own, rather than someone explain you. Okay, so that would be the good approach. So try to understand all these assignments, and if you feel doubt, definitely you will feel some doubt, how to solve these assignment. Then I'll share you the link. I share you the link into the group within 5 minutes, and just follow that link if you are getting doubt to understand all these assignments. So anything else that you want to ask, I will share the recording within 2 hours, and if you have any doubt, please let me know before closing this session. Okay, so okay, thank you. Whatever we learned today, first try by your own. Okay, scratch from your mind what exactly we do. We play with the for loop and the two things that we do, in the starting of the session. Then move to the for loop. Okay, then by your own, scratch your mind first. Okay, after that, I'll within 2 hours you will get the recording. And if you feel uncomfortable to solve that problems, then go to my recordings and try to learn these assignments. Okay, so this picture I will share into the group. So anything else that you want from my side? Oh, okay, thank you for this session. Okay, good night.